The Feast of Christ the King is a rather late feast. It was Pius XI who introduced it 100 or so years ago. And it's got some ambiguities about it. Christ the King. Jesus himself reminded Pilate today that his kingdom is not of this world. But too often we have a tendency to make him a king of this world. Jesus didn't like the title. Every time he was in danger of being proclaimed a king, they were going to snatch him away and make him king, as the Gospel of John says, he ran into the mountains alone to pray. He fled. He didn't want anything to do with earthly kingship. And you remember what happened when James and John came to him and said, "Oh, let us sit one at your right hand and one at your left hand in your kingdom." Jesus says, "You don't know what you're asking. Can you drink the cup that I'm to drink?" And then he told the rest of the apostles right after that, you know how the kings of this world, the lords of the Gentile, lord it over them and make their power felt. It shall not be so among you. If you want to be first, be the last. If you want to be great, be the servant of all. So how have we been doing with that? Not so well. Over the centuries, it has become very triumphalist. In the name of Christ the King, you conquer the new world, and, oppress peoples in the name of the faith, of the cross. And too often, triumphalism and our earthly power has been the vehicle of the spiritual power, which is a contradiction. Spiritual power is always hidden and delicate, intimate and respectful of the person. Never lords it over. Not only in the church have we failed, but of course we're always failing in the political realm. People who want power usually want power. It's very often self-serving and corrupt. Power corrupts. So Jesus' kingdom is entirely different. And today would be a good day to remind ourselves of that and to put it into practice. For example, the first reading speaks about, the majestic Son of Man who's coming on the clouds. And Jesus himself quotes that passage in his trial before he came to Pilate. And Son of Man, that's interesting. It means human. Jesus did not go around saying, "I'm the Son of God, believe in me." No. I'm the Son of Man. That's to say, I'm one of you. And he always referred to himself during his life as Son of Man, not as Son of God. Well, he's both. But the point is, he put the emphasis on man, on humanity, on his oneness with us. That is how Christ exercises his kingship. He is one with us in all our suffering and fear and anxiety and distress and pain and death. The King who came to live, to heal us, and to die to heal us, and he's still at our service. As the letter to the Hebrews says, he's always there interceding for us, even now. He's still at our service. If you want to be the first, be the last. If you want to be great, be the servant. And he's the first example of it. It's not as if he was a servant while he was here and now up in heaven. He's the King. No, he's a servant now because he's the King. He's always, like his Father, at the service of the whole universe. That's what it means to be King of the universe. Constantly giving life and joy and hope and compassion and healing to the whole universe. Quietly. You don't see him, waving flags and blowing trumpets in front of him. So much so that people don't even believe in God, because God is hidden. That's how God works. In the depths of the heart. He took on our human condition. That's why the second reading, the very beginning of the letter of the book of Revelation, says he's the firstborn of the dead. He takes on our death. and accompanies us through our deaths of all kinds, and lastly, the physical death. He's the faithful witness, it says. He's a faithful witness to who God really is, not who we would like him to be or expect him to be. He is the firstborn of the dead and the ruler of the kings of the earth in that sense, because he's always at their service so that their kingdom can be like his. Thy kingdom come, my kingdom go, thy kingdom come, which is entirely different from our earthly kingdoms. I bet he shares his own life with us. He makes us, as the first reading proclaims, and it's also in the Hebrew scriptures, he makes us a kingdom of priests. A kingdom of priests. So you're all priests, not just me, you're all priests. That's the main priesthood in our faith, the priesthood of the faithful. I'm at the service of that. And that means you're offering your whole life to the Lord as Jesus did and does. And you're kings, queens, you rule over all the contrary tendencies to cruelty and violence and hatred and vengeance, hopefully. And that's how you are rulers of your own life and of human life, by being at the service of life. And prophets, yes, as well, proclaiming the truth of who God really is. So Jesus shares all that with us. True power shares and uplifts the power of others. How often do you see that? True power uplifts the power of others and is at the service of their true power of love. And finally, he shares, as I say, his own life with us. And he was the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end, the one who is, who was, and who is to come. You've probably seen the Eastern Christian icons of Jesus. It always has Jesus Christus abbreviated, on the sides, and over his head it says Ho-Om. Over his head and on either side of his head, Ho-Om, 3 letters, which means, from the second reading here, the one who is, the being one. Ho-Om. So Jesus shares his divinity with us, his human and divine life, which is our true life, for which we were created, in God's image as his children, to share his very life in and with Christ. That's how much he's at our service. He shares his divine life with us now and forever. And if it's truly divine life by which we live, it's a life of love, forgiveness, compassion, hope, joy, and peace. A good day to recommit to what Christ's kingship really is and to what our power and our life really are.